here in the Mayweather Boxing Club with boxing judge Robert Hoyle, and also, well, actually, Robert, let's let you tell us about that. What are you doing today here in the club?
Well, here I'm getting a chance to work on my referee skills. Just hopefully one day get elevated to that position and become a referee.
Now, you said you have done that in other places, right?
Yes, I've gotten a couple of assignments by the WBA. We do some world championship fights overseas, so I'm just trying to bring it home and work on my skills here.
Well, most folks know you from your time judging. You've been doing some of the biggest fights in the world. Just explain how it works. You had said you can't do both, so explain what the rules are as far as refereeing and judging fights.
Currently here in the state of Nevada, you're licensed for one or the other, either as a judge or a referee. So right now I've been blessed to be a judge and do some real great fights. Like I said, just wait for my turn to move up the line.
So that's what you want to do? You want to give up judging and move into refereeing?
I'll still be a judge for some of the sanctioning bodies, but right now I'm working on becoming a referee. It's something I'm passionate about doing.
So yeah, it's more of your passion than a money thing, right? That's what you prefer to do, the referee?
Definitely a passion thing.
All right. Well, let's talk a little about the judging. Last couple months been a few decisions that have got the boxing world talking. Any judge that's done this for a while is going to have their share of questionable decisions. You had yours. Just thoughts. Well, let's start first. The Floyd Mayweather Canelo fight. The judge gave her Floyd, but closer than most people saw. The other one was a draw. As far as being a judge, what exactly are you looking for that maybe the casual fan sitting back who says, well, Floyd won every fight, what would lead a judge to possibly give a decision, a score that was a little out of kilter with what everyone else saw?
Well, first of all, I never second guess my other judges because, like I said, when you're sitting ringside and you're working off your philosophy of scoring that round, because each round is a fight, that's what, it plays into their score. For me personally, and I can only speak for me, when I'm sitting there and I have my philosophy going, I hope that the fans see the same fight that I do. But a lot of times they don't because their heart's in it. They're scoring from their heart. I have to score from a philosophy to get to the right score, to do the right job. So, and
then as you were talking about fans seeing the same fight you see, that's one thing people question, whether you guys have the right vantage point. How different is it? Well, let's put it this way: have you ever judged a fight? Have you been at a fight and scored it, and then watched later on TV, and maybe the fight looked different to you, and maybe you would have scored it differently?
Watching the fight on TV and watching it live, it can be two different fights. You change the camera angle, you're going to see punches you didn't see before, and then the impacts a lot of times can change just by changing the camera angle.
Well, and speaking of impact, the other fight that people are talking about was the Brian Vera, Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and a lot of people that did come to the defense, not many of them, but the ones that did come to the defense of Chavez were talking about the impact of his punches being much stronger. Just how did you see the fight, and explain to me how someone can land so much fewer punches, but maybe just because they're cleaner or more powerful, saying that swayed them?
Well, a lot of times when a round is close, it can come down to the most effective punch of that round. I don't think one punch can steal a round, but if the effect of that punch overshadows a lot of the action that occurred, and like I said, if the round is even, that could be the catalyst to really swing that pendulum to the other side to give that guy the round.
And you had said with the Floyd fight, you said you didn't think it was competitive, so you didn't watch the whole thing, so you didn't really judge it yourself?
Early on, and from my vantage point being so far away and talking and watching the fight, I felt that a lot of the rounds were being taken early by Floyd, so it caused me to, I wouldn't fed myself, so I thought that the fight was in the bag.
And what about the other fight?
And the Vera fight, I thought, I got to give the Vera credit for really coming out and fighting a big, tough, strong Chavez. Chavez is a strong fighter, tough, and he came at him and made a good fight. I think it's great that they're going to rematch these guys because they deserve a rematch. I think it'll be, who knows how the outcome of the next fight will be, but I think it's going to be a great fight when we fight again. Vera, big heart, Chavez, big strong guy, it's going to make for an explosive fight.
And how hard is it? Like one of your fights that a lot of people disagree with was a Marquez and Pacquiao fight. You ever pass in a card and say, "Oh man, this knowing it's going to rustle some feathers when you pass it in," or do you not even think about it like that?
I tell you, that round I feel very good of my score. It's like that guy won this round. I passed my ticket in, and I feel comfortable. I don't really think of when I don't count the rounds. Because in a lot of fights like that where it's back and forth, you'll lose track of who's winning what. But in that particular fight, when I passed in my scorecard, I felt comfortable. I'll be honest with you, when I got up out of my seat, I didn't know who I had winning.
All right, and then just explain, what do you think could be done? Or do you think it's more cyclical? Do you think it's just like the judging itself has gone downhill, or just we're hearing more about it with the internet and all that kind of stuff getting out there more? Do you think it's a newer problem, or something that's always been there, just getting more attention now?
I think the media, because judging isn't growing as fast as media. With Facebook and Twitter and all that, judging is still the same. There's more exposure to it now because there are things that the public's learning about boxing that I don't think they knew before, but there also are a lot more fans. And fans bring the passion, they bring their hearts, and when their guy doesn't win or when something goes the opposite way of what they believe, they talk about it and they put it in the media, they put it on the internet, and that's good. It's good for boxing because it's giving it new life.
Okay. Well, just to finish it up, let's just talk about how they get there and what can be done to fix it. So what do you go through first to be a judge? What is the requirement? If I walk in tomorrow and I say I want to judge boxing, what do I have to go through?
First of all, you got to get into the amateur program. You got to learn how to pull that trigger. You got to be comfortable with yourself. Start working on building up a philosophy of knowing what to watch for. A lot of people, they go ringside, they think it's just bang, bang, bang. That's how you score a fight. No, you got to know what you're watching. You got to see those punches land. You got to know that whether or not that punch to the rib was effective and an effective scoring punches, because body punches are just as effective as a head punch. You got to know what you're looking at.
And then nothing's ever perfect. So as far as judging goes, what can be done to improve that in your eyes?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, as a judge, you got to stay healthy. You got to be in these gyms. You got to be working out. You got to be thinking boxing. You got to be talking boxing. You got to associate with people in the sport that have the same responsibilities as you to help keep your mind focused on what your job at hand is.
Well, that actually kind of leads me to the next point, or a little off track here. With some people, saying that like Chavez was the made fighter, or this was the made guy or whatever. How do you deal with that as a judge? Knowing that maybe a promotion, it's their card and they're looking for a guy to maybe get the decision in advance. I mean, is that ever something that you have to deliberately block out, or does it ever enter your mind like this is the guy that's supposed to win?
Well, I tell you what, that's that fighter's responsibility. The good thing for me is I got to judge round 1, round 2 through 12. That's my job. See, the good thing about my job is I stay in my lane. That fighter has what he's got to do. I got to do what I have to do. Now, if he is the promoter's guy, so his job is to win for his promoter. My job is to make sure he gets a fairly judged fight, because there's people that are paying money to watch it on TV, to watch it in the seats. If I don't do my job, I failed everyone.
Right. And just last question. One solution many people offer is that perhaps former fighters should be made judges. Is that, because maybe they know the sport better, they've been in there, that kind of thing. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it should be, something they looked into where they get more in there? Or do you think anyone can do it, as long as they're trained properly? What are your thoughts on former boxing?
I invite anyone to come sit ringside or even get a video. I'll watch it on TV with you. And let's talk through it. Let's talk about what you see. Because I'm telling you, the untrained eye is not going to sit down and judge a major fight and do a good job. I don't care if one fighter is an A-level fighter and the other one's a B-level fighter. It's easy to get distracted in the main fight. It's easy to let the crowd in. First of all, you got to train yourself how to block the crowd. You got to be able to focus on what your task at hand is. And until you do that, you got to build up those skills so you can move forward.
And I lied. One more last question.
That's all right.
I won't talk about these. I'm not going to ask you to rate anyone's specific card, throw anyone on the bus. But what leads to some of these decisions that are just, how do they get there, that are just so off the wall that, whether, any fight, because, I mean, they happen periodically.
That's the mystery. That is truly the mystery.
Poor training for that particular judge, maybe, or
it could be training, just like we're here right now working out as a referee mechanics. Well, you got to train. If you're going to do a certain job, you got to train. Doctors practice every day. You as a writer, you know, just like what you're doing now, you're perfecting your craft. You're asking great questions. It's because you're practicing, and you got to practice. You know, it's just like what I'm doing here as a referee. Also, on the flip side, this helps me from a judge's standpoint because it gives me a different angle of how to look at a fight and how to observe when a guy's hurt. What does he do when he gets hurt? Was that punch effective? What are some of the most effective punches that occur during a fight? These are all the things that I'm using in my tool belt to help me be a more effective judge and hopefully one day to be an effective referee.
All right, and we can see you next on the Juan Manuel Marquez and Tim Bradley fight. Is that correct? You've been working at?
Yes, sir. I was blessed with that opportunity.
Or actually, hopefully, just like a umpire, we hope we don't notice you, right? We just hope you're there and everything goes smooth, and we don't have to know you're even there. All right.
I'm going to do my part.
All right, Rob. Appreciate it, and best of luck.
Hey, thank you.